Thank you for watching Off the Record podcast. I am the host, Sierra, and today I kind of want to talk about why making friends as an adult is hard and like what actually works. I got an advice question, and people really want to know like tips and tricks to like making friends and how to have lasting friendships as an adult. This is like super common, especially like in your early 20s or when you're freshly honestly 18 in your teenage years. Like it's super common, and I just feel like once you get older, like once you're like in your late 20s, early 30s, even 40s, like you grow out of people and people fade away, and sometimes you just have to get back into that rebuilding stage, but that's just what it is. Now for me personally, I've had a lot of ups and downs when it comes to friendships. Um, I've had people where I thought they were pretty solid. I've had friendships that were really one-sided. I've had friendships where I didn't really feel safe. There was always just something off within our connection or like with them. So clearly it wasn't working and they weren't sticking around. But we're going to talk about why adult friendships are so hard. I feel like with women, it comes a point in time where you start to get guarded with your feelings and yourself. You start not playing with yourself and your energy. It comes off very like guarded. You get to a point where you don't want to meet new people. You don't really care to. You don't really put yourself out there. Like if it happens, it happens. But sometimes I feel like it comes off like closed off energy when you kind of meet other people. Like sure, we could be friends, but I'm not really into it. Because you get to a point where it's just like, I'm kind of tired of trying. Like, I'm always trying, I'm always putting in 100% to these friendships and these people, and it's just not being reciprocated. So you get to a point where it's like, well, let me see what they're about. Let me see what they're going to do. And maybe I'll reciprocate that energy. But it can't always be like that. And we honestly cannot let our past relationships turn us into something different because things didn't work out. I feel like a lot of people also try to say like they're quote unquote too busy to make friends. Like they want them, but they don't really make the time. Those are the type of people who complain about not having friends, but they're not really putting forth the effort to make them. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like if you're going to talk about wanting to make new friends and put yourself out there, make sure you're the type to actually put aside some time to do so. I feel like social media is a place where it gives access, but there's no connection. Time and time again, like I'm scrolling on TikTok and Instagram and I'm seeing hundreds of thousands of people post about like wanting friends in like a specific area and girls being like, "Oh yeah, um let's meet up. I'm in this area." Like, you know what I'm talking about. And I just feel like half of the time in my personal experience, nothing really happens. So it's just like people want it, they crave it, but it's just like people are not putting in enough time and energy into it. You know what I'm saying? People get lazy. They don't like one-sidedness. They don't like when a person is only putting in 20%, the other person's putting like 80. Like it gets old, right? So that's why I say social media gives access, but no real connections. Like I feel like real connections don't start until you actually start wanting to hang out with people outside of social media. Like, yeah, you can have online friends, but like, where is that going to go? Is that going to get you what you're looking for, what you need out of a friendship? Like, do you want human connection? So, advice for everything that I just mentioned and talk about. If you want to make new friends, if you're trying to put yourself back out there, you got to create some time for that. You can't go around just saying, I'm busy or flaking or always canceling plans. You need to put yourself out there. And it can be very uncomfortable sometimes. And you can be feeling a little worry about it. But if that's what you want, you got to at least try and put in the effort. And you also have to go in with an open heart and open mind. Like, we can't let our past define us. Yes, maybe the last bitch burned you, did you dirty, but not everybody is like that. Not everybody is evil or has a bad spirit, there's actually people who are out there who are very genuine, people who are genuine and people who can reciprocate that energy that you have or you're willing to give. So now we're going to talk about where to actually meet these people. Like, where do we go? Where do we meet them? What do we do? What do we say? All that. For one, you have to show up consistently. You also have to show up as yourself and be authentic. You have to be consistent, even when you want to say, no, I don't feel like doing this, or I don't feel like going out, or, you're limiting yourself to the potential of meeting new people, making long lasting friendships. You also have to realize if people are actually reaching out to you and wanting to hang out with you, they're trying to plan things or inviting you to things, and you always say no, that is your reason for not really having a lot of friends. People get tired of hearing the word no. They put themselves out there to try to meet people, and they like you. They like your vibe. They like your energy. They probably think you're a cool girl or a cool person. And every time they try, you just say no. So you have to be consistent. You have to say yes every once in a while. Because guess what? Doing that also puts you in a space of new environments. New environments means meeting new people, maybe meeting people who are different from your past friendship groups. Me personally, I've made a lot of online friends. There's tons of apps out there, tons of groups. So I say yes to online activity for meeting new people, but you have to put in the time and energy to actually move from having an online conversation or relationship to meeting in person, and not just for the one time. Like, yes, if you don't fuck with them or their energy or you feel they're weird, that can be for the one time. But if you're feeling the vibes and the connection, like you really fuck with this person, like you want to continue to see them, like putting the effort to keep hanging out with them when you can. Don't always be busy, be available sometimes. Another good place to meet people is at your work. Now, this can be a little bit iffy, but you got to have some boundaries. Take it from me. I feel like when it comes to work relationships, you can have them. You can hang out with people outside of your job, but I wouldn't go about it with being very open unless you feel like you can really trust this person with all of your information. Like, work relationships can work, but you have to think about it at the end of the day. Like, you work with the person, so it's just like, if anything were to happen, how do you feel like that would go down? Like, there needs to be like some boundaries and some understanding, because you don't want to bring any drama or any messiness into the workplace, because then that creates a lot of drama and hostility in an uncomfortable work environment, and we don't need that. I also just recommend like going places alone. I feel like it puts you in a space of openness to wanting to meet new people. I feel like for me, I've been to a ton of like girl events that are meant to like bring everyone together, meet new people, all sorts of stuff. But a lot of those people, they bring their current friends with them, and it doesn't really give the same vibe of like openness and ready to like meet new people. I know a lot of people, they do that because they feel like it's more comfortable. But just imagine being in a setting like that and then bringing your closest friends and only clicking with them. You're not really, you're basically tuned in to the friend group, the circle that you brought. So it's just like you're not really looking out to meet other people. So I feel like if you are going to be in an environment like that, it's super important to like kind of put yourself out there. Like, even if you do want to bring your friends, like make sure to go out and like mingle with other people, or better yet, go alone. So you put yourself in a position to be seen as somebody who wants to meet new people and vibe out. Like, now let's talk about how to build something that actually lasts. I feel like a big thing is oversharing too much too fast. For one, you don't really know if you could trust a person when you're really getting to know them. And by taking your time and getting to know somebody, who they are, what their character is, what type of person they are, you have to know all that before you give them any like type of dirty secrets or begin to like trust them with that information. Because what could happen is you could trust this person with every single detail and they could be faulty. They could turn out to have some bad, nasty energy and not be a good person at all. And imagine them using that against you. I've been through that because I'm very open, I'm very trusting, and it can backfire on you. You wouldn't believe how many people are out there that low blow you, who just say things to hurt you. And they half the time they know what they're doing and they know what they're saying, but they don't really care in the moment. It might make them feel like a piece of shit later, but in that moment they don't really give a fuck. So I say don't overshare too much too fast. Wait till they show you who they are as a person. But I will say people should be able to, like, you can have a falling out with a friend, cool, but take that information that they gave you, take it to the grave. Like, regardless of it ending being bad or good, like, personally, me, I couldn't air somebody's business out just because we're not friends anymore. Or if somebody was to do that to me, I don't feel like I need to get one up to do that because that's just who I am as a person. I don't need to go lower than you did to try to hurt you, you know? At the end of the day, we have to remember karma is a bitch. Next is just following how people show up and not what they say. Anybody can tell you anything, but sometimes it can be all cap. You need people around you who can show up for you when they can and not just say so. If they say they're going to do something, they should be doing it. The more times that you make that acceptable for people to do that, to be able to just, oh, yeah, I'm going to make it, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and they don't. The more times that you allow them to do that and you make it acceptable or make an exception, like, oh, yeah, it's okay, they're going to keep doing it because you are making an exception. They think that it's always going to be okay. And you got to set some boundaries and put your foot down and be like, it's not okay. As many times that I've shown up for you when I can and tell you when I'm going to do something and I do it, that needs to be reciprocated. That energy is not okay. I want you guys to know that it's okay to put your foot down. It's okay to voice your concerns and your opinions even in friendships. You don't have to just be quiet and just be like, oh, yeah, everything's fine. It's okay. No, because it's not okay. And you don't want to be walked all over and not taken seriously. So that goes to say also, mutual effort is non negotiable. Nobody deserves to be the only one trying. Like, this isn't a one way relationship. It takes two to tango. And that's what I expect. You can't build anything to last if people aren't putting in the same type of energy. It's going to crumble and fall. And then at that point, everything becomes meaningless. It fades away. And then when it starts to do that, that's kind of when people want to come back into your life after a while and try to rekindle things. But like, where was that energy when I was putting in all that effort to try and be your friend to make sure that we had a lasting friendship or whatever the case may be? Again, mutual effort is a non negotiable if you're wanting a friendship to last. Speak up when something is wrong. And this goes for both parties. We aren't holding in our feelings anymore. The only time I feel like it's an exception is when you have spoken so much that you have nothing left to say. But everybody has a voice and everybody needs to use it. How can we build something lasting if we're both harboring our feelings and emotions and we're not telling each other how we feel, telling each other what it is that's wrong, what's bothering us? You're not confrontational. You just want answers, and that's okay. Don't be afraid to get them. But once you get to a point where you don't want to use your voice anymore, that's the time to honestly just let go. You've tried to be heard. Nobody was listening to you. And after that, there's not really much that you can do. Now, let's talk about some red flags and some green flags. All of these are just from experience, what I've experienced with friends, ex friends. Red flag, only reaching out when they need something. I feel like a lot of us have experienced this. It's giving you're being used, especially when it comes to advice. Like they might know you for somebody who gives great advice. You're always going to be there to open up your arms and help them with any possible thing that they need. You know, the people who just take, they take, they take, and they take. Most of the time, they don't give anything. Like, do you consider me? Do you consider my feelings? And that falls in line with not taking accountability. How many times have you voiced your concerns to somebody and they kind of just gaslight you? They don't take your feelings into consideration at all. They don't take accountability for their wrongdoings. They don't validate your feelings. They might treat your feelings as nothing, like you're the one who is tripping or needs to calm down. Nobody deserves to have a friendship like that. Everybody's feelings deserve to be validated. You might not agree with what somebody is saying, but you can understand, you can validate their feelings. You guys can come to a mutual understanding. One thing that really gets me here, and I feel like is a red flag, is silence. You have the people who pop in and out of your life. You guys can be on a good term, and then maybe you won't hear from them for a few months down the road. They pop up when they want to. And let's just say this is somebody that you consider some like a close friend. To me, silence is loud and clear. I understand we all go through things, but communication is key in any relationship. Now, acquaintances, people that you're not really close to, that's really understandable. People that you don't hang out with all the time, people you don't see. But if this is like a best friend or somebody you consider your close friend and they have times where they just disappear during important times in your life, times where you want to invite them to things, you do invite them to things and they just don't say anything, they don't show up, that's unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable, it's hurtful, it's cold without an explanation, without communication. And as adults, we should all be able to do that. Now, here is the type of people that you want to have in your life. The green flags that you should look for in people when you're getting to know them. They follow through with what they say, with what they do. They just follow through. You can count on them. You can depend on them to be there. They're solid. They respect your boundaries that you set. If you find out there are certain things that you are not okay with or that you do not like and you want some adjustments, they should be okay with that. They shouldn't make you feel like that's dumb or that's stupid or like why. It should just be done and they should just respect that. Respect what you have set in place. Let's say a friend likes to party. You want to get out of your partying phase, but they keep inviting you to party, go out, drink, go to the club, shake some ass, whatever the case may be, right? You tell them you don't want to do that anymore. And they keep inviting you to do those things. You put a boundary down there and they're walking all over it. They're stomping on it, basically. That's not respecting your boundaries and what you set that down on the table. They're not respecting that. If I'm telling you I don't want to live a certain lifestyle anymore, you should respect that and respect the journey that I'm going on and wanting to follow. Be a part of it if you want, or we can find some other things to do. But yeah, you gotta respect people's boundaries. And if they do, that's a green flag. If they don't, kick them to the curb. You don't feel anxious after interacting with them. You can be honest with them without fear. Sometimes a lot of people are very aggressive with their tones and the way they talk, and they're just always defensive. When you come from a place of aggressiveness, people are not going to be willing and open to be vulnerable with you and talk to you because they're going to be scared that you're going to be aggressive. You're going to be confrontational. You're going to shut them out, shut their feelings down. And that's not okay. We want to surround ourselves with people who make us feel good, people that we feel safe with, people that make us feel safe. So that way we can express how we feel and knowing that they're going to actually listen and just not be aggressive with the words that they say. Nobody should ever be afraid to speak up about how they feel. They want to be honest and open without fear. Can you imagine just wanting to tell somebody something and you feel like you can't because you feel like they're going to be like super defensive or might take it the wrong way? It's not really a good feeling. And I see it. I've been there in both perspectives. I've been that person and I've had it done to me and I've basically done it, and it's not really a safe thing to do in friendships. You definitely want someone to feel safe enough to just tell you how they feel because there will become a point in time where they get kind of tired of that, of when they do get pressured into you needing to know and you just end up giving them exactly what they already knew was going to happen. And it just becomes a cycle. But I really, really hope that this information gets heard and gets pushed out to everybody that needs to hear this. And I hope that it's been helpful for a lot of people. I really appreciate you guys tuning in to Off the Record. Again, my name is Sierra. I am the host. And you guys can find all the links in the bio. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on my socials, and tune in every Sunday.